Good evening. We would like to call this meeting to order, and we'd like to welcome everybody who is here in council chambers or who might be viewing via our via our YouTube channel, and we appreciate the participation. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kingman City Council, held at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. I'd like to turn some time over to our city clerk for roll call.
Mayor Watkins.
Present.
Vice Mayor Samily. Here. Councilmember Eric.
Here.
Councilmember Savage.
Here.
Councilmember Scott Staley.
Present.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I would like to invite any who would like to participate in our invocation, and if you would stand. And after that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by our Vice Mayor. And our invocation today will be by Minister Jim Mayberry with Kingman Church of Christ. Annie, is he here today? I don't see him either. You know what? If we could just bow our heads in a moment of silence and for that, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Okay, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The council may go into executive session for legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.03A.3 to discuss any agenda item. The following items may be discussed, considered, and decisions made relating thereto. First, we have on item number 1, call to the public, comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda, with the exception of those on the consent agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The council may not respond to speakers during the call to the public. The council may direct the city manager to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda. And please forgive me, but I forgot to introduce or recognize Tina Moline, our finance manager. She is our acting city manager here tonight, representing our acting city manager.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Tina. First, we have Mr. Thomas Clark. If you could come forward.
Looks like this is set up for PowerPoint. I'm not that advanced.
And Mr. Clark, if you could make sure you speak into that microphone. It's a little bit, you're a little bit taller, so you can make sure, or speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
Thank you.
How are we doing there? I'm going to have to shrink.
I'm just going to move this out of your way. We can't close it because of our Zoom link.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I'm messing things. I did want to commend the City Council. First of all, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And second of all, we're started already. I think it's commendable that you guys keep God and country forward in Kingman. In 1974, the Safe Drinking Water Act gave regulatory oversight of public drinking water to the EPA. The FDA is responsible for ensuring standards for drinking water. The decision to fluoridate water, a water supply, is made by the state or municipality and is not mandated by the EPA or by any federal agency. Currently, the recommended safe level of fluoride in a municipal water supply is 0.07 parts per million. That's supported by the CDC, the American Dental Association, Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health, and also by the Medical News Today. Additionally, the EPA, their recommendation for the safe level of fluoride in drinking water is 0.08 parts per million. According to the Kingman 2022 Water Quality Annual Report, Kingman fluoridates their water at 1.8 parts per million, which is 2.5 times higher than the recommended safe level. As of January 2012, over 4,000 professionals have signed a statement calling for the discontinuation of fluoride on a worldwide basis. A question for you is, by what scientific means did the city of Kingman or the state of Arizona determine to medicate the residents of Kingman with fluoride at a rate 2 times the recommended safe level? Excessive fluoride in the municipal water supply causes a condition called fluorosis. Fluorosis is an excess level of fluoride in the body. A lot of negative effects. Fluorosis interferes with the brain and thyroid functions, causes developmental neurotoxicity, lower IQ in children, calcification of the pineal gland, osteoporosis, cancer, abnormal hormone levels, dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis. Additionally, fluoride is absorbed by the soft tissue of the body as the liver and gallbladder. As you'll notice on the handout that I gave you, fluoride is classified as a toxic or a poison. Fluoride was used by the Nazis to make the inmates more passive and decrease their resistance to authority. There's 3 questions, and since I'm out of time, I'll refer you to the back of the handout. Inserted in the last page there, behind the last page, are 3 questions that I was hoping that we could get answered at the next meeting. And I'd like to request the Kingman's water fluoridation medication program be added to an agenda item for open discussion at the next city council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Our acting city manager and staff has noted this, they've heard this, and so I'm sure we will hear more about it.
Okay.
So, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Ms. Kelly Harrison?
Hello. Hi, my name is Kelly Harrison, and I have been a resident of Kingman, Arizona for the last 4 years. I'm here as a resident. In my time here as a resident, I have noticed that there is a need for more children's activities and recreations within our community, especially for the children under school age that can be enjoyed year-round. As a mother of 4 of all different ages, I see that need. With the city's approval, I would like the opportunity to create, I'm a little nervous, to create something that is not only for my children, but the children of the Kingman area. I have created and notarized and copyrighted a business plan for the future build of Exploratorium Kingman, a children's museum. This endeavor will positively impact the community, offering Kingman children a safe, indoor, temperature-controlled place to learn, play, and explore, offering community enrichment and educational opportunities throughout the years to come. An attraction that will serve both residents and visitors alike, creating value for Kingman and in the forefront of people's minds as a place to visit. Upon approval from the council, I would ask permission to approach other businesses and organizations within the community, soliciting for resources in order to help build this facility. Also, in adjacent, I would ask the city to maybe help access properties that might be more suitable for this attraction that doesn't cause any traffic or inconvenience to the residents. I am putting my whole life savings up to create this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kelly. And of course, our staff, once again, as I mentioned, Mr. Clark, has heard this, and please pursue and get in touch with them. Ms. Phyllis Arispe?
Hi, good evening. I want to bring up something, a topic, and I'm hoping that will be followed up with next month's. With everything escalating in the Middle East, with our potential threat of nuclear war, I want to know what the city has in place to harden the systems to protect our hospitals, generators, nursing homes, and our water supply, our just everyday electrical use, and how we can try and put something in place, because if we get hit by any type of nuclear attack or even a solar flare, the population in Kingman will go from 33,000 to 10,000 within a matter of weeks without necessary precautions in place. So I'd like to see if the city council could probably do something about this, and we could go further next month and hear how we can get this taken care of. That's it.
Thank you, Phyllis. Item number 2, consent agenda. All matters listed here are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, is there anything that needs to be pulled and discussed separately? Okay. Seeing none, can we have a motion then to approve our consent agenda, items A through G?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Annie, who do you want to give that to? Mr. Ward or Mr. Savage?
I have Councilmember Savage.
Okay, that works for us. All those in favor then of approval of our consent agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, old business, we have none. Item number 4, new business, 4A, Eastern Street Phase 1 Contract Award. On November 25th, 2022, Council approved an IGA with ADOT, ADOT for highway user revenue, HERF exchange funds for improvements at Eastern Street and Airway Avenue in the amount of $2,977,628. On December 13th, 2023, city staff received 4 bids for this project with an apparent low bid of $3,984,410.40 from Perco Rock Company of Cedar City, Utah. Staff recommends approval. City Manager, Acting City Manager.
Thank you
Tina.
so much. I'm going to ask that Acting City Engineer Mike Garman approach.
Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. We received 4 bids for the project, and Perco was the low bidder. The budget for the project is about $4.5 million. So the bid is well within the project budget, and we recommend go ahead and approve the contract.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Garman? Okay. Hearing none, any discussion by council about this? I know we all know that it needs to be done, and so I'm glad to see we're moving forward on this. Can we have thank you, Mike. Can we have a motion then approving item 4A, Eastern Street Phase 1 Contract Award?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second. I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4B, approve the purchase of 10 automobiles and resolution number 5486, providing for authorization to enter into a lease purchase and escrow agreement with ZMFU, Roman numeral 2 Incorporated, a subsidiary of Zion Bank Corporation, N.A. This agenda item is requesting the approval to purchase 10 new automobiles utilizing state cooperative purchasing contracts. The automobiles will be purchased through financing provided by ZMFU2 Incorporated, a subsidiary of Zion's Bank Corporation, N.A., which is also included in this agenda item for council consideration and approval. The total cost of the automobiles is $472,399.74 and will be financed at a rate of 4.93% over 5 years with no prepayment penalty. The debt service schedule results in 5 annual payments ranging from $108,901.38 to 1 penny difference, and $901.39. These automobiles were approved in the fiscal year 2023-24 adopted budget and 5-year capital improvement plan. Staff recommends approval. Tina, once again.
Thank you so much, Mayor. So this is on the new business agenda item because of the number of vehicles that we're asking for approval this evening, which are 10. Unfortunately, some of those vehicles were budgeted in fiscal year 23. We had to carry them over to fiscal year 24, so we're starting to see some fulfillment of those vehicle orders. So hopefully seeing some momentum in filling all of our vehicle replacements for this year. I do want to share that we always look for the most competitive rate. Vice Mayor Samley has asked that in the past, and we do. We have several programs that we look at, and ZMFU, which is a subsidiary of Zion's, did provide the most competitive rate and the best terms and conditions for this particular financing. So staff is recommending approval of the resolution.
Okay. I'm sorry, hold 1 second. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Look, hold on 1 second, please, Carl.
I was just going to say, generally the audience is allowed to just interrupt your meeting if you want to take comments before the vote. Be more appropriate.
Right, right.
Sorry.
You know, I appreciate your participation, and let's allow it this time, but normally, if you see something on the agenda that you want to speak about, you would need to fill out a form that you'd want to speak about it. But for tonight, we don't have a lot on the agenda. If you'd like to come forward real quick and introduce yourself and ask your question again about point of information.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologies for not filling out a slip. My name is Elliot Shalou, and my question is, what propulsion method will these vehicles be using?
You bring up a good question. Tina.
So they will be fueled by gasoline.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Villeur. Thank you. Can we, if there's no other discussion by council on this matter, I'm glad to see our fleet, and it's, of course, we put this into motion a couple years ago about updating our fleet of vehicles, and we have some really old vehicles out there, and so this is making our city look a little more presentable. And that's not, I'm not saying that we have to have the biggest and best, because we know we are on tight budgets, but I appreciate that in our efforts to do this is something that we had already planned in our fiscal year budgeting. So can we have a motion then approving item 4B, approve the purchase of 10 automobiles and resolution number 5486?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Item number 4C, amended discussion and direction to staff regarding acquisition of former Route 66 motel property. In 2023, Catholic Social Services of Arizona purchased the former Route 66 motel property for the purpose of converting the motel to a transitional housing development. Under the current C3 zoning designation for the property, the zoning allows residential apartment use, so the city cannot require a rezoning or conditional use permit for this use. Since there has been interest expressed for the city of Kingman to purchase this property from Catholic Social Services of Arizona for city uses, Mayor Ken Watkins and Councilmember Keith Walker have requested to place this topic on the council agenda for discussion and possible direction to staff. Councilor Walker and I had talked about this. We had both received numerous phone calls from a number of different people living in, of course, in the neighborhood, the residential neighborhood behind this motel. And we thought it might be good to bring it back one more time to discuss it. Basically, as a council, we have discussed this in executive session, that there really isn't much we can do on it. But on the same token, too, one gentleman in particular had expressed that he could possibly have financial backing if the city were able to buy this property, and then they would buy the property. But once again, that's a long shot. At this date, and I was going to turn some time over to Councilor Walker for this, but actually, Keith, if you want to hold on, Tina received some late information late this afternoon, and I think if she shares that, it will sort of,
That's fine, because, yeah, let's go.
so anyway, I'll turn some time over to Tina for this, please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I received a phone call late this afternoon from Ms. Sandra Flores, who represents the Catholic Social Services. She saw the item on our agenda and just had some questions on it. She did share that they obviously have purchased the building at a cost of $1.5 million. They're planning on investing over $4 million in it, and they are not interested in selling the building. They are planning on moving forward with the project. She also shared that there was some concern about it being transitional housing, and that there was a request maybe to ask the state if they could remove the 5-year requirement of keeping it transitional housing before it turns to workforce housing. And so they have reached out to the state before the holidays and asked the state if they could remove that requirement, and they could immediately just put it, class it as workforce housing. They have not heard back from the state at this time, again, with the holidays, and then, of course, the state's going to have to approach the federal authorities because it is federal monies, but they do have that request out there. So I wanted to be sure that we shared that information tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, and thanks for that late-breaking information, because I think that's important that we all know. As we know, all of us, I think, were at the meeting there that was held over at Manzington School with the concerned citizens of that neighborhood. And of course, the proximity to school. There's lots of concern about this property. And as we have always said and agreed as a council, we welcome Catholic Charities to Kingman. But in the past, we had felt that we wish they could have bought a property somewhere else located as opposed to something so close to the proximity to the freeway. Unfortunately, they have done their due diligence, and they are well within their rights and the law and our zoning and doing what they're proceeding forward. And as Tina just mentioned, they are not interested in selling the property at all. So I wanted to share that clarification with you before we discussed anything more. Once again, if there's any other comments from council, I would welcome them, but I wanted to, I know it seems like I'm beating a dead horse, but Councilor Walker.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think staff and council did our due diligence to make sure, I mean, we looked at every option there was, and this meets zoning. There was nothing we could do to stop this project. I mean, I think it's a great project. I think it's a bad location, but there's really nothing we can do. I mean, even if they wanted to sell it, I don't think we could come up with the money. I mean, number one, it's budget session isn't here yet. What would get bumped to put this in front? And I don't think we need to be in the business of owning a half-built motel / workforce housing at this point. So that's all I have to say.
I appreciate those comments. Yes, Councilor Savage.
My thinking is, one, is we talked about the location. So the two questions I have are, do we have any land that the city owns that requires this zoning to trade property with them? And two, if we did get it, what are we going to do with it?
Good points. And once again, as Tina has already mentioned to us, it's a moot point.
Right.
They do not want to sell, they do not want to trade. And as most of you have noticed, and I'm sure constituents have let you know, they have already started construction. They're in the asbestos removal phase right now. And as we know, and we have seen the plans of what they have for that hotel, it is going to become much better than what it was before. So I think we need to look for the positive on it. I wish, once again, that we could have, if we would have known that before the property was for sale, that we could have personally, some of us, talked to different businesses in town anyway. But at this point in time, there's nothing we can do. So, but Councilor Walker and Savage, I appreciate your comments. Anybody else? Vice Mayor? Okay. Well, thanks again. Item number 5, department reports. We have none. Item number 6, announcements by mayor, council members, and city manager. Acting City Manager Tina Moline.
I have none, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Walker?
Nothing tonight.
Councilor Savage?
Nothing tonight.
Councilor Ward?
Nothing tonight.
Councilor Staley? All is quiet tonight. Councilor Arik, online. I mean, on Zoom. Do you have
Stay
anything?
warm out there, nothing else.
Okay. Well, thanks again, all of you. I did want to mention a couple things, and I only bring this up because it was brought to my attention. It's actually more appropriate for our February meeting, but in our great tourism department, and I wish Josh was here, he could explain more, and the only reason I mention it is because the deadline is tomorrow. But they are looking for some couples to get hitched on Route 66. And this will happen on sometime in February, but the deadline to file paperwork is tomorrow. And so I wanted to just bring that to note as on a light note, that there might be someone who's on the verge of wanting to propose or get married and they can't set a date, and they could do it. And they could get married on Route 66. I think it's great advertising for the city of Kingman. So, I'm sorry. Anyway.
We can't do updates.
Yeah, so, anyway, if you would let our city clerk know, and maybe she could update the website to get more information about it. Thank you. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and anyway, so something on a light note. Once again, as I always say every time, I am thankful for all the service that is given in our community from those who are looking for ways to serve their fellow men. And oftentimes it's in a quiet, unnoticed method. Yes. Oh, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry. I need to turn time over to you.
No,
But let me finish and I'll turn time over to you. Or did you have anything?
I have
You
nothing.
didn't have anything. I thought I asked you, didn't I?
No, but that's okay. I have
Okay.
nothing.
But anyway, let's keep up the good work and let's look ways to serve one another. Thank you. Item number 7, council requests for future reports and updates. Councilor Saley, you've been quiet so far this whole night.
I've been saving it up for this moment right
There
here.
we go.
I would like to request an update on a previous item where we discussed doing a payback for paving streets. We haven't seen that come back yet, and I know we were hoping to apply it to a current project. So if we could get that, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Saley. Anybody else? Okay. Because we are ending so early, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Once again, thanks for everybody being here tonight.